Hi, Room 10 kiddos. We're going to read from Kate DiCamillo's Because of Winn Dixie. Okay, Room 10, we're on chapter 17 now. The last chapter we read was chapter 16. And it's been a few days since we've read, so let's go back and review what happened. I want to say Opal's visiting her friend, Miss Franny. Where does Miss Franny work? She runs the what? The library, right, just like Miss Sissy does at our school. And so Miss Franny's telling her the story about Litmus Block, her great-great-grandfather, who was in the Civil War. And Opal says, did he get killed? And she goes, no, if he got killed, then I wouldn't be here. But after the war, he came home. And remember, his dad fought in the war, so his dad died in the war. He came home. His sister and his mom didn't make it, and his home was destroyed. So he came back after the war with nothing. So now we're on chapter 17. Well, Litmus came home from the war, said Miss Franny, as she went on with her story, and found himself alone. And he sat down on what used to be the front step of his house, and he cried and cried. He cried just like a baby. He missed his mama, and he missed his daddy, and he missed his sisters, and he missed the boy he used to be. When he finally finished crying, he had the strangest sensation. He felt like he wanted something sweet. He wanted a piece of candy. He didn't have a piece of candy, and he hadn't had a piece of candy in years, and it was right then that he made a decision. Yes, ma'am. Litmus W. Block figured the world was a sorry affair, and that it had enough ugly things in it, and what he was going to do was concentrate on putting something sweet in it. He got up and started walking. He walked all the way to Florida. And the whole time he was walking, he was planning. Planning what? I asked. Why, planning the candy factory. Did he build it? I asked. Of course he did. It's still standing out on Fairville Road. That old building? Said Amanda. That big spooky one? It's not spooky, said Miss Franny. It was the birthplace of the family fortune. It was there that my great-grandfather manufactured the Litmus Lozenge, a candy that was famous the world over. I've never heard of it, said Amanda. Me neither, I said. Well, said Miss Franny, they aren't made anymore. The world, it seems, lost its appetite for Litmus lozenges. But I still happen to have a few. She opened the top drawer of her desk. It was full of candy. She opened the drawer below that. It was full of candy, too. Miss Franny Block's whole desk was full of candy. Would you care for a Litmus lozenge? She asked Amanda and me. Yes, please, said Amanda. Sure, I said. Can Winn Dixie have one, too? I have never known a dog that cared for hard candy, said Miss Franny. But he's welcome to try one. Miss Franny gave Amanda one Litmus lozenge, and me, too. I unwrapped one and held it out to Winn Dixie. He sat up, sniffed it, and wagged his tail, and took the candy from between my fingers real gentle. He tried to chew on it, and when that didn't work, he just swallowed the whole thing in one big gulp. Then he wagged his tail at me, and then he laid back down. I ate my Litmus lozenge slow. It tasted good. It tasted like root beer and strawberry and something else I didn't have a name for. Something that made me feel kind of sad. I looked over at Amanda. She was sucking on her candy and thinking hard. Do you like it? Miss Franny asked me. Yes, ma'am, I told her. What about you, Amanda? Do you like the Litmus lozenge? Yes, ma'am, she said. But it makes me think of things I feel sad about. I wonder what in the world Amanda Wilkinson had to feel sad about. She wasn't new in town. She had a mama and a daddy. I had seen them with her in church. "There's a secret ingredient in there," Miss Franny said. "I know it," I told her. "I can taste it. What is it?" "Sorrow," said Miss Franny. "Not everyone can taste it. Children especially seem to have a hard time knowing it's there." "I taste it," I said. "Me too," said Amanda. "Well then," Miss Franny said, "you've probably both have had your share of sadness." "I had to move away from Watley and leave all my friends," I said. "That is one sadness I have had. And Dunlap and Stevie Dewberry are always picking on me. That's another sadness. And the biggest one, my biggest sadness, is that my mama left me when I was still small. And I can hardly remember her. I keep hoping I'll get to meet her and tell her some stories." "It makes me miss Corson," said Amanda. She sounded like she was going to cry. "I have to go." And she got up and almost ran out of the Herman W. Block Memorial Library. "Who's Corson?" I asked Miss Franny. She shook her head. "Sorrow," she said. "It is a sorrow-filled world." "But how do you put that in a piece of candy?" I asked her. "How do you get that taste in there?" "That's the secret," she said. "That's why Litmus made a fortune. He manufactured a piece of candy that tasted sweet and sad at the same time. Can I have a piece to take to my friend Gloria Dump, and another one to take to Otis down at Gertrude's Pets, and one for the preacher, and one for Sweetie Pie too?" "You may have as many as you want," said Miss Franny. So I stuffed my pockets full of Litmus lozenges, and I thanked Miss Franny for her story, and I checked out Gone with the Wind, which was a very big book. And I told Winn Dixie to get up, and the two of us left and went over to Gloria Dump's. I rode right past the Dewberry's house. Dunlap and Stevie were playing football in the front yard, and I was just getting ready to stick my tongue out at them. But then I thought about what Miss Franny had said about war being hell, and I thought about what Gloria Dump said, about not judging them too hard. And so I just waved instead. They stood and stared at me, but when I was almost all the way past, I saw Dunlap put his hand up in the air and wave back. "Hey," he hollered. "Hey, Opal." I waved harder, and I thought about Amanda Wilkinson and how it was neat that she liked a good story, the same as I did. And I wondered again, who was Corson? Well, that was chapter 17 from Because of Winn Dixie. And it takes place, we're still in the library. And who are we visiting with? We're visiting with Miss Franny in the library. Miss Franny tells the story of who? Litmus Block, right? Litmus Block was her great-great-grandfather, and he lost everything in the Civil War. When he comes back, he has nothing. He lost his parents, he lost his siblings, he lost his house. So when he comes back, he's got nothing. And so he's got nothing to leave. So he gets up and he walks all the way to Florida. Florida's all the way at the bottom of the country. He walks all the way to Florida. And then when he gets there, he starts a candy company because he figures there's enough sadness in the world. He wants to bring something sweet. But there's a secret ingredient in it. You remember? Sadness, sorrow. All the candy, it's sweet, but it reminds you of a little something sad. And Miss Franny says not everybody can taste it in there. You have to know what sadness is to be able to taste it. But remember, we don't know what makes Amanda sad. It's something to do with Corson, but we don't know about Corson. But Amanda has something that makes her heart sad. And we know Opal has something that makes her heart sad because she's missing her friends from her old town, and she's missing her mama that she didn't get to know. So I'm curious to see if anybody else is going to try the candy and see what happens. See if they taste the sadness. Well, that was chapter 17. Tomorrow we'll read chapter 18. Bye, guys.